When was the last time you thought about Smash 4? Odds are that it's been a little while, considering how Ultimate has absolutely dominated the public's attention for over 2 years now. And rightfully so. Ultimate is newer, bigger, and in many ways, more impressive than its predecessor. But believe it or not, there are still plenty of reasons to go back and revisit the penultimate Smash Bros. Welcome to the Completionist New Game Plus, where I am recompleting the first 120 games I ever featured here on my show. And this time, I'm returning to a title that I spent an unhealthy amount of time with the first time around. And one of the first things I noticed when diving back in was just how much I'd forgotten about Smash 4, about its several nuances and idiosyncrasies that gave it a sense of identity, separate from other Smash games. Things that should never have been forgotten about. It's time to recomplete Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. Yes! Nintendo and Smash Bros. Go back a long time. The franchise has been around for over 2 decades now and has been represented across several of Nintendo's consoles. They go hand in hand at this point, and if there's a new Nintendo console without a Smash game, rest assured that a hefty portion of the player base is out there furrowing their brows and muttering, "Where my Smash?" But that wasn't always the case. After all, tons of people purchased the N64 without having any idea that they were months away from Mario and DK beating the ever-living shit out of Yoshi. The GameCube was already selling like cubicle hotcakes in the brief time before Melee's release. And the Wii certainly didn't need Brawl's help to push units. Even my dad had a Wii, and he hates games. The point is, the Smash series has always had a big impact on console sales, but it's never been the reason for a console's success. Well, that was the case until Smash 4. It's safe to say that tons of fans were some combination of disappointed, confused, and angered by their first brush with Nintendo's last-gen hardware. After all, if my dad already has a Wii, why would he need a Wii U? And a lot of consumers were asking themselves similar questions instead of buying the damn thing, leading to the Wii U's quickly dwindling sales and one of the Big N's greatest commercial failures. And then, like an angel from heaven, Smash for Wii U, which drew players to the Wii U like a siren song, arrived. I'm sure there are loads of us who know somebody who only bit the bullet on the Wii U after Smash 4's announcement. Smash 4 didn't exactly save the Wii U from its premature demise, but it did make tons of people go out and buy that console who otherwise wouldn't have. Smash Brothers games always push units, but this was the Smash that pushed units like no other. And it wasn't like this was some phoned-in Smash title that was rushed out in order to save a struggling console. This game had a lot going for it. It still had the same percentage-based platform fighting, allowing our favorite gaming icons to thrash each other after transforming from toys to life. Well, maybe. I'm not sure if that part's supposed to be real. But I am sure that Smash 4 was full of more content than any Smash before it, coming really close to the point where people were wondering, damn, they ain't done adding stuff yet? At least that's how I felt when I first completed it for the show when the game first released back in 2014. As much fun as I was having enjoying the improved visuals, the new characters, and Mr. Kong taking out the garbage, I was more concerned with the clock. I was trying to complete that game as fast as possible so I could get that original episode out soon after the game's release. Now, we may have hit that deadline here in the office, and that episode was certainly comprehensive in regards to its description of the game's completion criteria, but it didn't really contain many of my actual opinions. I didn't really express myself because I was too busy sprinting to the finish line and making a video to prove that I made it there. I gave the game a finish it rating, presumably due to the sheer amount of work one has to put in order to complete Smash 4 not being reasonable. But in general, I wasn't thinking about how I felt back then. I was thinking about how to get the job done. But now, I've got plenty of time. This game's not going anywhere, and I've developed my thoughts. The first of which is that I will not be overworking myself this time around. See, last time I actually completed the 3DS version of Smash alongside the Wii U version. So why? Well, I figured I'd eventually have to complete the 3DS edition one day, and I thought I'd go ahead and get it out of the way. And because Sakurai claimed that they were two completely different games, and because I tend to make poor life decisions. I thought I'd covered all of my bases by completing both games, but who could have foreseen something like the Completionist New Game Plus? And how could I have known that Sakurai was exaggerating about the differences between the two titles? And I'm not responsible for all of my poor life decisions. But I see things clearer now. I consider these games similar enough that I won't be doubling my own workload. This episode will only be covering Smash for Wii U. So, if you want a New Game Plus episode on the 3DS version, just close your eyes, picture this episode, then down-res it significantly. We're not missing that much besides a few 3DS exclusive modes like Smash Run and Street Smash, which don't really affect the completion process anyway. But it's not like I don't still have my work cut out for me, because this game is still a freaking beast. And it's only gotten beastlier since the last time I tackled it, thanks to the addition of 7 DLC characters that weren't back at launch. In fact, there's a lot that's changed about this game since it launched. Chief among them are opinions on it. It's not that everyone suddenly flipped their takes on it. It's just that not that long ago, Smash 4 was the Smash. It's what everyone was playing, speculating over and getting excited about it. I personally thought that Smash 4 would be remembered forever as one of the best put together games of all time. But now, it hardly seems to get remembered at all. A degree of obsolescence is to be expected when it comes to video game franchises. New stuff comes out, people tend to forget about the old stuff. It's natural. When Melee hit the market, you bet your sweet bippy that heaps of players kissed their precious N64 cartridges goodbye. And despite the criticism that it receives, and the fact that it seems like Melee will never die, Brawl was extremely popular. I'm serious, look it up. But Melee's apparent immortality is kind of what I'm getting at here. Despite the expected mass exodus that occurs each time a new entry in the Smash franchise is released, each title still retains its sense of identity, and each one's value remains clear to see. The aforementioned Melee is still a competitive juggernaut to this day, thanks to the complexities of its more subtle mechanics. Brawl will always have the subspace emissary to set it apart, and even the original feels distinct, oftentimes because of its lack of features that would become series staples. But what the hell is Smash 4 remembered for? Well, it was the first Smash that ran at 1080p, so that's something, and it was the birthplace of 8-player Smash. Not to mention that its sister version was technically the first portable Smash Brothers. But these are just famous firsts. What are the features it possesses that no other Smash has? Well, the answer is not much. And as a result, Smash 4 has been quickly and rather brutally overshadowed by Smash Ultimate, which is a fate that it arguably deserves. So for example, Smash 4 featured lots of collectibles, and I mean a lot of collectibles. It was the biggest Smash of its time, which, for completionists, mostly translated to get all the stuff. Mii outfits, music tracks, and extra moves, which no one uses, are all peppered throughout the game, requiring hours upon hours of grinding each mode to get them all. But the thing is, this experience is basically the same over in Smash Ultimate. In fact, even after recompleting Smash 4, the process of gathering all these little items blends together in my mind with my experiences doing virtually the same thing in Smash Ultimate. I'm not saying the collection experience should be reinvented every time a new game is released in this series, but differentiating the way each game handled it would have helped me remember the older game more. Speaking of time sinks that I had to do all over again, there's the challenge menu, which is basically Smash's version of in-game achievements. These challenges have been around since Brawl, and they're just as hard to complete as ever, which is to say that most of them range from amusing to inoffensive, and that the last 5% or so are sent from hell. The challenge menu in Ultimate is virtually the same concept. It's like a completely lateral move, except for the fact that despite Ultimate's version looking more confusing at first glance, it's actually organized by game mode, making the whole menu and the process of unlocking them much easier to navigate. Meanwhile, back in Smash 4, I was slowly moving my cursor from square to square, trying to remember which challenges to save my few golden hammers for, which, spoiler alert, they're not even worth spending for the most part, since the worst challenges don't allow you to use hammers on them. Thanks a bunch. But probably the most obvious point of obsolescence is the event mode. Remember that? It's where players can participate in specialized matches, often reflecting in a theme or referencing specific moments in Nintendo history. Sound familiar? It should, because this entire concept was essentially transformed into Ultimate's World of Light and the spirit systems in general. The spirit battles feel like the ultimate version of this concept. And to be honest, while I was making my way through all these events in Smash 4, I was often thinking about how much cooler the spirits were. Don't get me wrong, these events are dope. They're a great way to challenge players who want more, and they're an endearing nod to these video games' roots. But as opposed to the more lateral moves mentioned earlier, this mode just seems like it's been left in the dust. Now, I know it seems like I've been arguing that Smash 4 should be locked away in the attic like an evil conjoined twin or something, but it was necessary to detail how this game has been outdated in order to highlight how it's actually remained relevant. Revisiting Smash 4 didn't just remind me of the series' redundancies, it reminded me of several features that were done better here in Smash 4 than they were in Ultimate, and even elements that were outright missing from the latter. Features that, now that I remember them, I really do miss. And that makes Smash 4 a far more satisfying single-player experience than its follow-up. Like, remember All-Star Mode? What the hell happened to All-Star Mode? One stock, 3 healing items, and the entire cast in a row. Yes, it can be a genuine challenge, and yes, it was a tedious mess to go through with every single freaking character all over again. Hours and hours sunk into fighting the same characters in the same order over and over again. But that still doesn't change the fact that this mode was an absolute staple of Smash Bros. Until it wasn't. Yes, Ultimate had a somewhat similar mode, but that one feels more like an endless multi-man melee. A poor and anticlimactic comparison to the pomp and circumstance of battling your way through Nintendo history in reverse order until you reach where it all started. The blackest man in all of gaming. Put some respect on his name. I understand that implementing a more traditional all-star mode in Ultimate would seem excessive with a roster of its size. But since when has Smash been averse to being excessive? For as long as it took to fully complete, I was delighted to return to Smash 4's All-Star mode. But what really took me by surprise was Smash 4's rendition of Classic mode. I had totally forgotten about how epic and satisfying this game's version was. Firstly, it's big, as in there's a lot of stages to get through before it's all over. And yes, I realize that as a completionist, I should be bemoaning that fact, but I didn't mind because this Classic mode has a lot more depth in my opinion than Ultimate's. Now that game throws you into, admittedly, nicely constructed predetermined fights in a set order based on whatever character you choose. But here, there are always choices to be made. You can choose which battle to take part in, whether it's a group smash or a one-on-one duel with a rival. Yet another wrinkle that this Classic mode offers. Sometimes, entire choices get blown away so that new surprises get added to your pool of options. I may have had to grind out this mode for several hours, but at least the mixture of challenges available kept my attention. But the real juicy stuff comes at the end of Classic mode. We all remember Master Hand, of course. Do you remember how in Smash 4 this dude would change forms? Depending on how well you did and what difficulty your class mode run was, Master Hand can transform into a giant, a snarling beast thing, a shadowy clone of someone from the roster, or just swords to up your day. That's awesome. And on top of that, there's even a fortress that players have to navigate in order to reach the climax. Once again, this was an absolute pain in the ass to do with every character. It is unrelenting and punishing, but I would do it all over again in a heartbeat if it meant getting this into Ultimate. That's how much fun it is, and more importantly, how unique it is. World of Light may provide some similar feeling boss fights every now and then, but sometimes you just want the quick burst of single player flavor that's capped off in a satisfying way. These Master Hand variations scream Smash 4 to me. This is where a large part of Smash 4's identity lies. One of the more interesting things when it comes to Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, and for 3DS for that matter, was amiibo. See, when amiibo was announced, it was a really big deal because it was the first time in a long while that Nintendo was getting into the toy-to-market game scene, you know? It was really exciting. We had this essence that Nintendo was going to make a really good product, and for the most part, the Smash Bros. Amiibo are pretty damn sick. Great quality, obviously imbued by the Smash Bros. Logo, and very exciting to have for your own collection. Except there's two major problems. One, 7 years later, these bad boys are still impossible to get here in the US. If you're in Europe, if you're in Japan, congratulations, it's easy for you to get them. Everyone here in the States, we're screwed. It's impossible to get them. Second, and ultimately the most disappointing thing about this whole process, these things don't really do all that much when it comes to Smash Brothers. You train them, they get better, they learn how to battle you, and then you take them to a friend's house and you have your friends battle them. And that's kind of the gist of it. Honestly, I'm not so sure this is a bad thing so much as hindsight's 2020. Going into it, I was very excited. Now, I could care less. If this was me, I probably would have made it so that if you get the amiibo, it unlocks those extra custom moves that everyone hates on. At least that way, you get some content. And at the very least, if you don't want to get that by buying one of these bad boys, you can just unlock it naturally. And it doesn't even stop there. Smash 4's got plenty of other little modes and options that are either unique to it or are missing from Ultimate. There's Smash Tour, a little board game that's not my favorite. I only played it a few times to unlock the associated challenges and trophies, but I'm glad it's there. There's the Special Orders, semi-random fights that yield greater rewards for sustained win streaks. Oh, and don't forget Break the Targets, which is cool and all, but I'm still campaigning hard for the return of the individualized target levels. Bring them back. Look, if you're not into Smash for the single-player offerings, I can understand how this stuff would go unappreciated. But as someone who has to do it all, I'm really glad that this stuff was here to cleanse my palate after all the more traditional smashing that would need to be done. And I think that that sentiment is exemplified when it comes to maybe one of the most unassuming aspects of the Smash franchise, the trophies. They're fluff, they're filler, they're frosting, they're forgettable. And that's exactly what I did. I forgot about them since they've been somewhat replaced by the awesome spirits in Ultimate. But I really shouldn't have forgotten about them since these trophies aren't just pretty pictures. They've got more value than that. And they can all be put on display, giving players a satisfying view of their rewards. But moreover, these trophies are a part of Smash history. They've been around since the very beginning if you count the little toys in the original Smash intro. Admittedly, collecting all of them in Smash 4 is a pain, requiring scouring every single game mode and game type. Gathering all these trophies takes a whole lot of luck, patience, and hours of time, maybe even being the single most time-draining activity during this game's completion process. But if anything should be considered a piece of Smash Bros. History, it's these things. But now, they're just gone. Make no mistake, the spirits are dope, but I genuinely miss these little humble connections to the series' roots. And just to be clear, it's not my intention for this video to come across as a Smash 4 was better all along hit piece. And I'm not saying Ultimate is the no-brainer choice either. In fact, it was never my intention to compare these two so thoroughly, but I couldn't avoid it. They're extremely similar, and because I had so little memories of my first Smash 4 completion, the next clearest comparison was to its descendant, and putting the two side by side let me see just how much Smash 4 brought to the table and took home with it. Completing Smash 4 is a Herculean task thanks to its gross amount of content, but doing it this time was far easier. That's partly because this game has been out for years now and is fully mapped out online. There aren't any more surprises, and the most efficient routes to completion are common knowledge. Plus, I've been playing Smash regularly since its release. Sure, it's Ultimate that I've been playing, but they're close enough that my familiarity with my main characters translated well enough for me to have a secret weapon against Smash 4's toughest challenges. Also, I don't have a deadline breathing down my neck. I was able to take my time and really enjoy things, even with the added content from the DLC characters. And most importantly, the time I spent away from this game gave me the perspective to appreciate its idiosyncrasies. Would I still rather play Ultimate? Absolutely, for sure. But Smash 4 still has plenty to set it apart from its siblings. It does have an identity. With things like All-Star Mode, those classic mode bosses, and the trophies, Smash 4 feels like the last traditional Smash game. As of now, it's the final resting place for some of Smash's most iconic features. And for that alone, it deserves to be remembered. Super Smash Bros. For Wii U is one of those games with incessant unlockables. No matter what you do, you'll constantly be earning things for your trouble, most of which are the aforementioned outfits, music, extra moves, and a gross amount of trophies. That's a lot of trophies. Plus, there are a few specific challenges in the challenge menu that yield some special rewards, like mythic and legendary Pokemon that can pop up in the Pokeball items. But does this game ever acknowledge that you've gotten all of anything? Does it make any attempt to reward you for going the distance? Well, kinda. First off, you'll only gain access to true All-Star mode, where you actually fight every character on the roster once, you unlock everybody. Makes sense. And unlocking every stage nets you random select. That's kind of weird, right? But I guess the most obvious recognition for Completionists is the 2 million gold you get for completing every challenge in the challenge menu. I remember the gold being a little underwhelming back when I first completed Smash 4, and it still is now, but it's less disappointing. This stuff lets me play more of the modes that I'd most likely revisit in this game, but to be honest, the acknowledgement itself is worth more than its weight in gold. I still wish this game gave Completionists a little more for their efforts, but when is that not the case? Besides, my experience completing Smash 4 this time around was far easier and far better than before. Instead of being exhausted at the finish line, I could definitely imagine going back for a little more of the stuff that I now remember this game does better than the others. I guess absence really does make the heart grow fonder, because I have grown fond of the handful of features that never made the jump to the latest title. When I re-completed Smash Bros. For Wii U, there were 58 trips made through All-Star mode, which is a few more than 51 trips than last time. It's stuff like this piece of completion criteria that makes me annoyed at the addition of 7 more DLC characters, but finding my way down memory lane in this mode was more than worth it. And those exact numbers can be applied to the number of runs I made through Classic mode. Well, of mandatory successful runs. God knows how many failed attempts or specific challenge attempts I made. Who would have thought that I'd end up appreciating one of the most unsung modes in Smash history? These bosses are fantastic and need to return. 80 events completed, which is up from 55 last time around. 140 individual challenges unlocked, which is the exact same as last time. These are no joke, but with careful planning, you'll naturally take out most of these during the completion process. 743 trophies collected, which is a slight bump up from 716, thanks to those same DLC characters. On one hand, I hate to grind them all out again, but on the other, it was nice to see them all again. 94 hours of total playtime, and one good reason to keep the Wii U around the house.
My name is Gerard, and this has been the Completionists New Game Plus. Super Smash Bros. For Wii U was a classic when it was released, and it still is. I was genuinely surprised about how much individual flavor this game had to offer. There's a lot of content here though, so if you're completing it, it's going to take a lot of dedication for very little reward. But if you're still trying it out for old time's sake, then it's still well worth your time. So, with that in mind guys, I still give this game my Completionist rating of finish it.
Finish it!